1, 2, 3. Camera. Hello, guys. Good afternoon, good morning, good night to the ones in India, to Emily in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada morning. And for me, just in the middle, I will say in Spain, in Lleida, where the Liquid Galaxies headquarter project are located. So welcome back to our... Which one is this episode, Merul?
It's the 8th podcast.
8. Oh, 8 months with this. This is something serious now. So welcome back. And let's gonna start as usual, making a round of presentations with our colleagues. So Merul, you're the first one. Introduce you a little bit.
Hi, I'm Mirul. I'm a full stack developer based in India, and this year I am mentoring for Google Summer of Code for Liquid Galaxy.
Wow, you're gonna be mentored this year. Fantastic.
Yeah.
You're passing to the next step from GCI to being mentor. That's good.
Yeah.
I hope your experience goes nice. It's gonna start.
Yeah,
it's gonna start soon. So after you, below you in this case in the mid conversation is Janiru. Hello, Janiru.
Hi, I'm Janru. I'm from Colombo, Sri Lanka. I'm being a trading mentor in GCiers this year.
You're gonna be trainee mentor.
Yes.
Yes, because how old are you, Janiru?
14 at the moment.
14. At the moment.
Yes.
Well, it's in this moment. Perfect. So you will be doing that stuff with another mentor next to you. Nice. And finally, we have our Emily. Hello, Emily.
Hello. As I always say, hi, I'm Emily from Vancouver, Canada. This year, I'll be I think, co-mentor for Google Summer Code, and I'm very excited to get started.
Just remember to raise a little bit your voice, because your mic is a little bit away. You say you're using a laptop?
Yeah, I'm using the laptop mic, but it's currently docked, so I have it like in clamshell mode, and then I have like my monitor and webcam, but apparently the webcam mic is a little bit broken, so it's technical problems.
It's not bad. Just remember to be a little bit loud. Jariru.
Don't you have a mic in the headset right over here? Maybe.
Oh, I do. However, those drivers don't really work on Linux, which is another problem entirely, but it's alright. It's working progress.
Yeah.
Welcome to
For me, the mic didn't work on Windows, so at the moment I'm on Linux, so it works perfectly now.
Welcome to use a lovely open operating system that does not has support for all the hardware we have. That's the point with Linux. You never know what's going to happen. So let's going to have our little round of weekly this month. I would say not weekly, but monthly. Not good news, but I think it's nice for the community to know the situation around. So, Merul, you live in India. The situation is very bad. Explain us a little bit about the COVID situation.
So here it's basically a dumpster fire, to be very honest. Right now what is happening is people are dying at higher rate than bodies can be disposed of. There have been queues of dead bodies piling up near crematoriums and burial grounds, and people are unable to find any hospitals. There's a very strong shortage of medicine and oxygen, so people are just dying without treatment, which is the worst thing that can happen. And the worst part is that the government is taking no accountability whatsoever. So that's just bad all around.
Let's hope that the worldwide, I would say, movement is starting a little bit slow, but it's starting now sending some oxygen, medicines, and surely they will send you stuff. Because I listen in the news that if India fails, the world will fail. So you cannot fail. You cannot fail because not, and also for all of us. So we are in a, I would say, in the whole humanity war against the virus. So let's hope that the different countries that have the most of the money and resources are starting to send you as soon as possible some stuff to try to go back to better line. So Janiru, what is the situation in Sri Lanka now? You mute?
Yes. So the situation was perfectly fine in Sri Lanka about 2-3 weeks ago, and we did had a major festival as India. And after that, all things went bad, and now there are about 2,000 cases per day, and we are again locked down at the moment. It's becoming worse because the hospitals are full and people stay at home. COVID-19 positive people stay at home. That's the worst case.
Yeah, so situation you say that was mostly created by some kind of a religious religious festival or whatever you do, and then people get relaxed, go there in masses, but they would use the people were using masks, or they will not using masks.
Some people do, but mainly like shops and shopkeepers and those guys never wear masks, so that is the biggest point.
Yeah, I have to say the same. Let's hope that situation changes in the next weeks. Let's go to Vancouver, Canada.
Right, so in Canada, it's actually kind of going a little bit down from the peak of the third wave. We have 8,000 cases a day, like over the entire country, which is a lot less than, say, India or Sri Lanka. In my province, it's also kind of going a little bit down, but it's still at pretty high levels, and hospitalizations are still like reaching peak levels. So, well, like every week, we'll just be hopeful, but I hope that like with vaccines rolling out a lot quicker, hopefully everything will be back to normal soon.
And what's the rate of vaccinations here in Vancouver, Emily? Do you know about how many people is already got his first or second vaccine?
I'm not sure about the exact percentages, but they're going basically down in order of age, and right now they're kind of like booking appointments for people who are like about age 70 or something. But basically the plan is that all adults above the age of 18 get vaccinated, like the first shot, before like June or July. So with that in place, I hope that things can slowly go down a little bit.
I would say that here in Spain, the situation is a little bit like yours in Canada. We have a large, almost bad situation in some hospitals, in some zones of Spain, because when people go to the hospital, it's not easy to go out. It's easy to go there, but not easy to go. So people takes months, sometimes months to go out of the hospital. And we have around, I remember it's something like 20 something % of the population, at least with one doses of the vaccine. But we were getting no vaccines for several weeks, and now this seems to be changing. We are getting plenty of Pfizer and Moderna. We have some trouble with the AstraZeneca. It depends on the country, because I remember, Merul, you in India use another kind of vaccine.
Yeah, there's another one, but it's not really like properly tested.
We have AstraZeneca.
It's a mix. I remember it's something like a mix between the AstraZeneca and the another one.
For us, no, it's basically like a vaccine was developed by an Indian organization here with their own research and all, but the problem is that its efficacy rate and its like the phase 3 trial did not go on properly, so people were sort of skeptical about it. But it like now they're less skeptical and more vaccines are rolling out. Mainly there are two being circulated. There's Covaxin, which is the Indian one, and the other is Covishield, which is by AstraZeneca.
Also, we have to say that India is the largest manufacturer of vaccines in the world. You have the largest manufacturing facility. So to finish, in the Spain situation is not as too bad, of course, and in your two countries, guys. I would say similar to the situation in Canada, and we are hopefully getting more vaccines, and maybe we have a little bit quiet summer, but it has to be seen because, as we were talking before we started recording, COVID is, if I think still we don't have the whole population in the world. The whole population means 70-80% of the whole world. That's 6,000 million people got the vaccine. The virus will still be doing that very kind of action. And today we don't have any students because there is no students from GCI in Brazil. But do you remember we have a large community in Brazil too? We have another laboratory in the Sorocaba place near Sao Paulo, and our colleague mentor Mark Gonzalez is running Liquid Galaxy Lab Facens in Facens University. And they also have a very bad situation in Brazil. It's not similar to the problems in India. I mean, it's not coming from a large religious festival, but they're having also a bad situation. They're in lockdown again, as you, Janir. I understand, Merul, that you are not in a lockdown.
No, today a lockdown was declared for a week in my state, and my neighboring state it was declared for like 15 days. But like I'm in a place where like I live near like state borders, so it's for me it's more of a 15-day lockdown than a 7-day lockdown.
Okay, thank you for updating us and updating our community. And let's start to the things that we like most, that is around technology. And today, Emily, you want to talk us about web monetization. So the mic is yours.
All right, so today I'm going to be talking a little bit about WM.
Raise your volume, please.
Oh,
volume.
All right, so today I'm going to be talking a bit about WM, which stands for Web Monetization. It's a pretty recent project that's been gaining some traction in the past couple of years, and it promises to bring a lot of new possibilities to the table in terms of content monetization and creator funding. One of the main things that put WM on the map, at least in my knowledge, was the main hackathon that they ran in partnership with Coil, Mozilla, Creative Commons, all these big companies, and Dev2, which is one of the most popular dev blogging platforms, if you've heard of it. So basically last year they brought together a whole bunch of people to jam out and hack on projects that related to WM. And I think a lot of interest was generated in this way, and it really shows the opportunities that something like WM can bring. So, I guess technical details. WM isn't some magic bullet for creator funding, but it's an open source protocol and API that's currently being developed. Essentially, the premise of WM is that instead of paying for larger subscriptions to websites and, say, paying $10 a month for a subscription, the news site can charge per article and have that amount be something like a couple cents, or even charge like by time spent on the website, kind of like a streaming service. So WM makes the option of micropayments and things like this a lot easier, and I think it's an interesting opportunity to explore. The API exposes a lot of interesting events, like sending payment to a specific meta tag, which is kind of like the payment pointer that sends things off, and processing things on payment received, and all these like really interesting examples, like unlocking exclusive areas of the website and removing ads for people who do pay. So I'm not sure about everything on the crypto side of things because everything does run on, I think it's Interledger protocol. But I do know they have a couple wallet providers that you, I guess, fund your wallet with, then connect it to the company Coil that provides the browser extension for major browsers to streamline the payment process. So I think like basically what WM will allow creators to have more control over is what they monetize and how they do so. So I hope that it'll become a way for people to start getting used to this whole like micro payment model that people might be a bit skeptical about in the beginning. And the fact that everything is completely open source and developed in the public, like the link is basically just webmonetization.org and they have all the information out there. And that's really cool to me, and I'm excited to see how this project takes off in the future. Again, it's not really in any major browsers at the moment, and however, they don't have a lot of providers for wallets and stuff like that. But with more developer adoption, I guess, and more wallets and a little bit more clarity for normal users for what this whole thing does, I think that WM has a lot of potential that can bring a lot more openness to the web as a whole. So yeah.
Very interesting. What is this Puma browser that it's supporting? I don't remember which one is that. Is that one?
Oh, Puma browser is, I think, something that's developed, I think, either internally at Coil or like in partnership with Coil. So I guess with that, there's something called a payment pointer that you use for every, I guess, transaction. So each website has a payment pointer, and with your wallet that's integrated in the browser, then your wallet will automatically send with the Puma browser a payment to that little URL that's linked in the website.
The Puma browser is on the screens now, and it seems to be a project already working. I mean, something.
Yeah.
Not a project like the IPA about web monetization, but this seems to be. I never heard about that. I would try it. I'm saying they have versions for both iOS and Android.
I think like one of the things with WM right now is that they don't have a lot of adoption, or like to use it with like a browser like Chrome or like Firefox, you're gonna have to download an extension. And like within the developer community, that's like, oh whatever, just a button to click, right? And then you fill out your wallet. But the thing is like the wallet has to be on interledger protocol, which is like, crypto, and like people are sometimes a little bit iffy on like how that whole thing works. So if there is like an integration with like a major browser like Chrome that say like went in and like integrated it fully, then it would make the process for users a lot more easy and simple, because then they're like, oh hey, Chrome is a reputable browser. They made this open, so I think I should take advantage of this and use it. Whereas like right now it's a little bit of like, ooh, this is a little bit sketchy right now.
Merul has left the conversation. So I was going to ask, what do you think about... Welcome back.
Well,
Merul, I was going to ask something that, what do you... but I will start with you, Merul. What do you think about the crypto wave reaching us for real in regular day situations? Like this one for the payments of the web monetization. Do you understand?
I didn't fully understand it.
Sorry, let's make a more general question. So, Emily's presentation about web monetization is based. This technology is based in the Interledger Foundation. That it's something like a wallet for cryptocurrencies. Is that correct, Emily?
Yeah, so basically how it works is like you have to set up like a wallet with like Interledger protocol, and because that makes it a lot easier to send like small micropayments.
Yeah.
So you have to set like a specific like wallet up with like a certain like cryptocurrency for it to accept.
So my question was about this, Merul, and I will go back to later to Janiro. My question is, when do you think generally that this kind of technology is using crypto technology in for getting payments, or I would say in general, cryptocurrency will affect us in a daily basis?
Only when its acceptability is greater. Like it's only. I only think that it would work if it's as acceptable as PayPal. Since right now it's as if some people are offering it, but some are not. So it's not really that tangible of an asset to hold, like as money is. Like you can't really trade it right now in exchange for anything that you want, since its acceptance is not that much. So I don't think that till the time it has at least as much acceptance as PayPal or some mobile wallet, that it would be that prominent in society or affect anyone in general.
Janil, do you have PayPal?
No, PayPal is banned in Sri Lanka, though you can receive money to PayPal. Sorry, you can't receive money into PayPal, but you can make payments to third parties from PayPal. I don't know why, but you can't receive payments in PayPal. So mainly I use a service called Payoneer for my Fiverr stuff. It's good, but not as PayPal, I think.
Yeah, that's the point, that in many countries in the world do not have support for the regulations about money transfers or whatever about this. And let's start, for example, we don't have at this time we don't have any student working with us from China. We used to have some in the past, and maybe this year there are some students from China at GSOC. I don't know at this time. But in China, payments are a totally different world. So they have their own WeChat payments, Alibaba payments. They have their own universe, and they don't use. I mean, you say, Merul, we need to be as universal as PayPal. In China, no one uses PayPal. So the world is large, and in every country, different things happen. So thank you, Emily, for your presentation, and let's go to you, Merul, about your interesting presentation to this week. Go.
Yeah, this is a very interesting topic, and it deeply affects me as a Linux user, and it's something that I was seriously interested in talking about. So I'm sure that most of you who are listening to this podcast are also enthusiasts of open source and the way open source works. Now, what went down is something that everyone who has any stake in open source at all should seriously consider, since this can potentially cause issues for you in the future. So before I move on to the topic, I do need to tell you about one thing, and that is what are Hypocrite commits. So a Hypocrite commit is when you try to fix a small bug or a small issue in a repository. Let's say you're saying that I'm fixing this bug. But what you're actually doing is that you're fixing that bug, but you're introducing a way bigger vulnerability into the code base, which you can later exploit. Or you're saying I'm fixing a typo, but what we're doing is actually adding a vulnerability that you can exploit, sort of like a backdoor. So what went down was that University of Minnesota, a research group from University of Minnesota, were trying to allegedly researching on the Linux kernel, and they were trying to introduce some vulnerabilities into it. And according to them, their goal was to see if the Linux kernel can be breached into and whether their Hypocrite commit would be able to make its way. So what happened was they did 3 commits, which contained some vulnerabilities. So as far as I can tell, those commits never made it to the main branch of the kernel, but they were still there and they were accepted. Those pull requests were accepted. According to the University of Minnesota, each time a pull request was accepted, they would send out an email informing the maintainers that this specific pull request has been accepted and there's an issue and you might want to undo these changes. But this is something that came after the research paper was published, so we don't really know the whole reality of it. So what happened was that when the maintainers caught on to what the research group was doing, they banned every single pull request being sent to the Linux kernel by UMN domain. So all University of Minnesota email addresses were banned from were totally banned from ever submitting pull requests. So where the situation currently stands is that University of Minnesota is permanently banned from ever sending any pull request to the Linux kernel, and they have written an open letter seeking apology from everyone. Now, I do want to talk about how they actually managed to get past the maintainer's case, since I'm sure many people would be trying to introduce backdoors on Linux at any given instance. But there's a level of trust you gain inside an open source organization once you've been working for them. Let's say someone like who's from University of Minnesota. University of Minnesota has a reputation of being a contributor to the Linux kernel, and with those years of status of being a helpful contributor comes some sort of trust from the maintainers. So this sort of oversight can happen within a reasonable doubt. So now I'll move on to my personal take on the situation now that I've gone over all of the facts. Now, there's one thing that I find really interesting. you can't really penetration test anything unless you have the permission from that organization. You can't just hack Gmail, then send a mail to them, yay, I just hacked Gmail and this is the way you fix it. You'll get arrested for that because you did not get permission from Gmail. You can't go to any organization, just hack them, and then after that say, I hacked you this way, but since you did not have permission in the first place, you cannot basically just do that. It's completely unethical, and oftentimes it's illegal. And I do not know how the legality of it exactly works out, but it does seem something which is very unethical to do on an operating system that runs on millions of servers. So I am completely on the Linux kernel community side on banning University of Minnesota, since it's more about sending a message that anyone who tries to screw up with the kernel would get punished in the end. I would love to hear your thoughts on this, please.
Emily.
Actually, I think this is kind of funny because I'm in the UBC right now, and in one of the servers, people were talking about oh, let's also do the same thing, and let's also see who we're gonna get banned. And I think I agree with Nurul in that the message that's being sent to the community is a good one to I guess kind of show that the security of this is something that they do care about, and it's not something that's can be taken lightly, and you can't just oh yeah, let's just hack in, as you said, and then ask permission and later, because I don't think that's something that makes for sustainable software development. So I think I agree with most of Nurul's points.
Anjariro, do you have any comment on this?
No.
It's a very technical, deep question, because I don't want to start to talk about my colleague from Spain, Cynthia, will say batallitas, little battles, because I'm an old guy. I don't want to say how old I am. I can say I'm 55, so I can be your father 2 times. Question is that I remember perfectly where Linux development started. I was there when the very first client from Linux on a bulletin board system. He said, "Hey, I'm starting this. Do you want to help me?" It was nice, Birul. And when we got our first Linux distribution, something like 16 floppy disks from Slackware, I don't remember exactly the name of the distribution. So the Linux kernel is something as enormous and big and supporting different platforms that it's a mess. It was, I'm wearing this 15 years old Google Summer of Code jacket, but I remember that when the program got to the 10th anniversary, we have a party in downtown San Jose in California, and to this party I was there, and so also was my colleague Mark from Fasens University Liquid Galaxy Lab from there. And the question is that they brought Linus Torvalds to the party. We were next to Linus talking. We were not too much people. We were something like 200 people. You know that Linus is a very, he does not want to talk too much. He's a, I would say, a quiet person. And it's absolutely genius. So he still is taking care of this. So someday, Rule, if you want, it's a hard task, but maybe we can have a program talking about Linux kernel development, because it's something like people don't know. And the question is that this project, the development of the Linux kernel, is supporting everything in the world now. People don't know it. Every smartphone, every Android we have on our pockets runs Linux. Every Chromebook, I will name it. I mean, millions and millions and billions, American billions of different apparels are supported by the Linux kernel. So it's an amazing history. We'll see, because this is not ending here. I understand, Meryl. This is going to be a large discussion in the community, because the situation is still going this way. I mean, I understand they are out of the conversation. The Minnesota University, Is that right?
Yeah.
They are still
Yeah,
blocked.
they've been banned from. Yeah.
Forever, because
Yeah.
because I'm taking a look to the left screen because I'm sharing some parts of the document you told us and so on, and it seems that they have used some very bad activities, I would say, there. so they introduced kernel bugs on purpose. So this is not something Linux and the kernel community will be happy, and it will be difficult to get back trustness on this. Okay, so thank you, Merul, for your presentation. I think it's very interesting. And Janiru, it's up to you now.
Hello, so today I'm going to talk about Zulip. It's an open source chat application like Slack and Discord. So Zulip started as an open source organization in 2012, but the stable build came on 2020 December. So it was Zulip was created by Jeff Arnold, Wasim Deher, Jessica McClure, and Tim Abbott. So as I said, in 2012. So Zulip can be a free alternative for Discord and Slack, and as Slack, Zulip has some packages. So the thing I like about Discord is you can like see all of the messages history, right? But Slack can only show you 10,000 messages in the history, same as Zulip. So that's a minus point for Zulip and Slack. So and they have many packages as premium, basic, platinum, like that. But they say they usually give about 85% to 100% discount for non-profit organization. So I think that's a good point about Zulip, because Slack doesn't give an option for non-profit organizations. So as in Slack communications, in Zulip occurs in streams. Each stream can have a several topics. Zulip claims that this improves productivity by making it easy to catch up after days of meetings. Like you can make some subjects to each topic you chat. So then there will be a long chat in the channel, and when a person comes after all that happens, like he goes confusing because what happened here. So there's a solution for Zulip we can't see on Slack or Discord. And they offer up to 5 GB storage in the free plan, but you can go unlimited in the paid plan. So what is your thoughts? Actually, I think Merul uses Discord a lot, so I think he'll have something cool for that.
Oh well, I use Discord since all my friends are on Discord, but it's sort of a situation which happened with Signal. Like people were not switching to Signal since no one is on Signal, but no one is on Signal since people aren't switching to Signal. It's this whole paradoxical situation of where people are actually at. And since Zulip is, as far as I can tell, it's a LAMP stack application that you have to self-host, or you can use the hosted version. So since you have to self-host it, it adds a barrier of entry if you want to get the most out of it. But if you're using the free version, I don't think that it's going to have that much functionality as a self-hosted one that you can just clone the repo and deploy it on standard LAMP stack on a Linux VPS or something.
Emily, have you used Zulip?
Angela, I think you're muted.
Oh. I was muted. That's right. Thank you. I was saying that if you have used Zulip, Emily.
I haven't actually used Zulip, but I've heard of the threading features, like the streams and stuff like that. And I think that stuff like that is also actually, it's very good in a work environment where you actually want to catch up on things. But I think for more casual chatting and stuff like that, it might feel a bit too formal. For example, I personally wouldn't create a Slack to just chat and play friends with my group. play games with my friends. But like the threading and like the catching up feature is definitely something that would be beneficial for work. But I think like personally, I'm gonna stick to like Discord and like easier to like handle stuff just for like casual conversations.
Oh, the point about chat applications is always the same. People goes where the people is. If you can talk, you can maintain a conversation. It's exactly the same that this application has the most beautiful functionalities. But if no one is there, your message will be lost in action. So I can tell you that Zulip has been on the Google Summer of Code for years, and we have an offer, permanently an offer from them to use it for free in our open source project. So do you want to make a trial, Merul?
Sure.
Sure.
But the question, I don't know, and I don't want to look at look for the emails from them regarding this question at this moment, because I am recording the podcast and I don't want to touch so much the configuration just in case something happens. But what I don't remember now is if they offer us the self-hosted or they offer us just to get the code and host by yourselves. We will not host by yourselves because we don't have easy hosting available. But if they have the self-host by them functionality, I am give you the opportunity if you want to maintain a chat from Zulip in this year Google Summer of Code. Do you want?
Sure.
Okay, I will take a look at the email they send us in every season, and we'll see the possibilities. So it's my turn. I'm gonna talk you about 3 different things today. We are 30 minutes in the podcast, so I have three questions for today's podcast. One of these is something related to this beautiful embroidery you are seeing here. This was made by my daughter Anna, and it's saying that Liquid Galaxy from 2010, 2020, an asterisk, with an asterisk. The question is that Liquid Galaxy started as an open source project back in 2010. It's been 11 years since that moment, and when Google, Janiro, could you please mute yourself again because your mechanical keyboard is. So when Google released it, we started to do things with the Liquid Galaxy, and I'm going to show you what was the first project I did that was a Liquid Galaxy. Now on the screen is what I call the Jada Liquid Galaxy. Is what the first Liquid Galaxy I built in 2010. Still is running the same machines. It's 55 inches screen, and it runs. We have it in the installation of the Scientific Park in Lleida, where the Liquid Galaxy project is located, the main offices. And now we are seeing a video I recorded past 11 years ago, with the system running. It's exactly the same technology we are using today. We have not changed too much, except we have plenty of applications that can run overlaying the information on the top of the Google Earth different contents. And let me show you another one. This is a more actual one. In this video, I'm showing you. We'll see it later, guys. In this video, you have to be very focused on what is going. It's for students 2021 GSOC. I recorded some weeks ago, and we're seeing a small 524 inches screen, one of the many small Liquid Galaxy we have at the laboratories. So at this moment, I think we have 9 different Liquid Galaxies. And when I say 9, I mean 9 full, from 3 to 5 to 7 to 8 Liquid Galaxy configurations for the students to develop the different projects. And let me show you the difference in another video, how is the original Jade Liquid Galaxy now. We make some kind of refurbishment, and it was closed in the very beginning. It was something like the original project for our colleague was Jason Hall, engineer at Google, that created the system. Originally, the Jade Liquid Galaxy was in some kind of a round of 10 pieces, and then you got 2 pieces and you enter there, as it's been shown in the video a minute ago. Now we have it in a more open view, something like we have 7 55-inch screens in a more open. I mean, it's not plain, but it's something like a curved situation. More people can see the information, and it's a better form factor, we call it. A demo with our colleague Claudia Diosan and Paula Vidal is being shown, and this was from the GSOC 2020 project Happies. So I would say that we are celebrating this year the 10th anniversary of doing stuff, because we started to do things at 2010, but we built the Liquid Galaxy in 2011. So this year, in May, around May, where we are now in May, it's 10 years that we have the Jade Liquid Galaxy running. And remember, Jade Liquid Galaxy is the very first one we installed, not the project. The project was created in 2008, and Google released it as open source in 2010. So I'm planning to do maybe the next podcast, or in two more podcasts. We're in May, June, maybe for July. I'm planning to have some kind of historic backlog of the many things has happened since we started 10 years ago to do that kind of stuff. And I'm planning to have students from GSOC and from the laboratory that has been around with the Liquid Galaxy and talking about his experiences. And it will be nice. The other question is that we are now building our 10th, not year, but our 10th Liquid Galaxy, and it's going to be run on this machine. Ooh.
Is that a Raspberry Pi?
No. What is this, Merul?
Galileo, Arduino.
No, Emily.
Well, I've seen the script, so.
Orange Pi.
Whoa!
Jetson Nano.
Jetson
Yeah,
Nano.
Jetson.
I know, Merul knows what it is. So this is a Jetson Nano, the 2GX version, developer 2GX version. And we have got some of these machines from NVIDIA. And we have some students that are gonna create Liquid Galaxy running with this. I would say this is like a Raspberry 4, not 3, but with the difference that it has a large TPU inside, a large GPU, and it has only 120 CUDA cores, but that's a lot more than a Raspberry has. So the CPU is, I would say, it's as a Raspberry, but regarding the artificial intelligence capabilities of this machine is higher, yeah, and the graphic situation. So we are starting to test this with the Ubuntu and so on, and we plan to have 5 screens Liquid Galaxy running with these machines. We will see it in the upcoming months. This is a box I bought. I mean, this is not from the original. The original is just the board. Even the board has no heatsink, has no ventilator, and not the camera. This is a regular Raspberry Pi compatible camera that works here also on the Jetson Nano. So last thing I want to talk today is about that. If you want to make any question, just stop me, please.
You
The thing is-
can't you can't run a Liquid Galaxy system on a Raspberry Pi, right? I tried once on a Raspberry Pi 3, but I'm not sure about the Raspberry Pi 4.
So the question about this, Merul is going to answer it. What is it? What's the point?
I'm not too sure since I've not tried it on a Raspberry Pi per se, but I think I actually don't know if it's like the Linux binaries which Liquid Galaxy needs are supported, then I guess it should just work. But I'm not too sure about that since I've never tried it out myself.
The point, no problem. The point is that the Raspberry Pi 3 has no GPU. And when we want to run graphics, they are painfully slow. Raspberry 4 has more power, but it still is ahead of this Jetson Nano, because as I say, this has 120 CUDA cores, and it's more powerful in the graphics aspect. So we are doing a test. Maybe we fail, and I will say in the next podcast that we haven't failed. Well, I think we are not. And so this is the point. You can run Google Earth Linux on a Raspberry Pi 3 and a Raspberry Pi 4, but the question is to have the power graphics still a little bit powerful. Google Earth though is not required too much power, but you need some graphics, and we'll see. But this is the project we have at this moment. Last thing I was gonna explain you is that on May 17th, today we are recording this, and today is, what day is today?
It's
2nd of May. So in 15 days, Google will announce the students selected for this Google Summer of Code 2021. This year we have 202 different open source organizations in the Google Summer of Code. 31 of them are newcomers. Newcomers, I mean new organizations that never has been on the Google Summer of Code. So we are 170 that we have experience of this. And I don't have the number here, but I think numbers about how many students have presented their projects. I remember, but I'm not sure now. It's something like 4,000 students. Maybe. The question is that on May 17th, we will talk about on the next podcast, Google will have announced the selected students, and then you three will act as two, Emily and Janiro as training mentors, like past year, and Mirul will have his first year as mentor of Google Summer of Code at the Liquid Galaxy project.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it.
Okay, so at this moment we don't know which projects are going to be chosen, but this is something I always say that it's like something like a birth. Because we have something like 9 months working preparing the students for the Google Summer of Code, and then in 3 months it has to be done. GSOC will start on June 7th, and then we'll finish around second week of August. This year is a little bit shorter, and we'll see. So our community will grow in projects and students there, and we'll see what's going on for the future. Any question you want me to make about GSOC? No? Are you feeling happy or nervous about being mentors again?
Yes, of course.
I'm excited. That's
I don't remember. What is your proposal? What is your maybe you are going to be mentor of? What kind of project?
It's from a
You
certain
you cannot say names. You cannot say names of the students, please. No places, no names. Just kind of projects.
It's about like speech recognition based control for Liquid Galaxy. So where you can just speak a command for a Liquid Galaxy instance, and it would be a hardware and software project. So it's sort of a firmware development where it would be running on a Raspberry Pi, which would be connected to a television, and then a person can just say a command, and the Liquid Galaxy instance would just move to that specific area, or basically just execute the order which the person has given to it.
So the point is that it's going to be around Linux, because you are a fan of this. Is your thing, and also voice recognition. And you say TV, but then later you say Liquid Galaxy. We don't get the point.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a plug-and-play device where you just connect it to a TV or a setup that you have, and then you have the Liquid Galaxy instance installed on the Raspberry Pi. So it's supposed to be plug-and-play and super simple for someone who's not experienced with, let's say, installing a Liquid Galaxy instance. So as far as I could understand, you would be shipping images which you can just download, and then it would be basically plug and play for the user, and you do not need any sort of technical expertise to set it up per se.
Let's hope we can reach this ideal project. The only thing the person will need is a mic, because the Raspberry Pi does not include a mic by default. So we'll see. It's only 15 days now from many months of working. This year we have something like 30 mentors, and I don't know, because I'm the administrator, but it's a hard job from months and months of work, and then we are finishing the selection process, and Google will be announcing on the 17th. So to all the students that will see this project, good luck. We desire the best for you all, but it's up to Google which ones will be selected. It's a difficult question, because remember, we are 202 different open source organizations this year. So guys, any other questions you want to mention? No. British Columbia says no. Sri Lanka Columbus says no. I'm from India. No. Okay, thank you for coming back to our 8th episode of the GCiers podcast, and let's wait for the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.